That night, it was raining heavily in this small village where most of the residents worked at the textile factory, on the edge of the forest. Calm prevailed, and people were content to stay at home watching television with their families. Here, the only business still open at this late hour was the bar where the so-called regulars would gather, as well as lonely people. You would also find a few young people from the village who couldn't wait to come of age, gain their independence, and leave. Reese had fallen asleep on one of the bar tables. He had brown hair and a 3-day beard. He was tall and broad-shouldered. Seeing him asleep with his fist clenched instantly alerted the bartender, who then made noise to wake him. He was asked to leave as the building was closing for the night. He stood up with difficulty and staggered home, holding his head. After a few minutes of walking, he finally arrived safely. Rather than rest, like most would in his condition, he chose to make coffee and added a generous amount of Baileys. His favorite doctrine was fighting fire with fire. He fell asleep on the couch in front of the fireplace to warm up. Autumn had just begun and the leaves were starting to change color. Still, it was quite cold. Around midnight, Reese's phone rang. So drunk from all the alcohol in his blood, he didn't hear the phone ring. He finally woke up after an hour and 5 missed calls. Still drunk, he staggered to the table for his phone, then collapsed on the couch. When he saw all those missed calls on his screen, he frowned. For anyone, receiving one or more calls at that hour was already a bad sign. But for him, because of his job, it meant there was a life or death emergency. He was about to redial the number of the unknown caller when he noticed that a voicemail had been left on his answering machine. Intrigued and somewhat worried, he quickly called his voicemail. After the automated voice told him to press pound for new messages, a familiar voice came through the phone's speakers. "Ricey, what the hell are you doing?" "I need you." "I don't have much time, so listen closely. I'm in Robinson Woods because police reported a series of murders. Trust me, the state of the bodies was truly abominable. What killed them wasn't human, and my suspicions were confirmed. I came across the tracks of a Wendigo. I tracked it and tried to kill it, but during the fight, it wounded me in the stomach. It doesn't seem to be like the other Wendigos I've dealt with before. It's much stronger and smarter. I'll never make it on my own. And you're the closest. Join me as soon as possible. I think I'm not far anymore." Resi didn't even take the time to hang up and dropped the phone on the floor. Tears ran down his cheeks. There was no doubt about it. He had heard something attacking Lorenz. Reese's job was dangerous, with death always looming. It wasn't uncommon for one of his colleagues to lose their life, and none of them were ever really sure they'd come back alive after a hunt. But Lorenz was the best of all the hunters. He was the most experienced, and this wasn't his first time. Moreover, he had trained many other people in whom he had detected abilities. With the aim of joining them in the fight against the demonic creatures, Reese was devastated. It was at that moment that he told himself he would never see again the most seasoned, the wisest, and the most generous man he had ever known. The one who sacrificed body and soul to shield the innocent from bloodthirsty creatures. He also knew he couldn't wallow and needed to act fast. Reese hated these creatures more than any he had ever fought. The Wendigos were vile creatures, intelligent, fast, and it was very difficult to defeat them. So, if even Lorenz, who had already defeated dozens of these things, said that the Wendigo he was hunting was stronger than the others, Reese knew he wouldn't be able to fight it alone. He was going to need a strong and efficient team. To be honest, the only other hunters he knew were the ones he had met during the group hunts that Lorenz had organized to train them. During a hunt, Lorenz admitted he chose them for their complementary abilities, and he had added that he was convinced that one day they would have to join forces to fight as a group. However, when Lorenz said those words, Reese never imagined this moment would come so soon, and that his colleagues and he would have to join forces to avenge the death of their mentor. Shock and sadness inside him turned to rage and a thirst for vengeance. He walked up to the hallway and stopped right in the middle of it. He bent down and removed one of the planks from the solid wood floor that covered the ground. Underneath were various objects he had gathered from his hunts, witchcraft artifacts, weapons, and other relics. Resi grabbed a small brown leather notebook with a golden clasp. That's where he kept all his notes on what he had learned. He quickly flipped through the pages before coming across the notes he had taken on his different teammates, as well as their phone numbers. He called the first person on the list.
Ivy, it's Resi. Are you aware about Lorenz?
No, what's going on? He got caught. He's dead. Damn, this can't be true. How was he killed?
He was at Robinson Woods, and he came across a creature stronger than him.
That's not possible.
Looks like it is. We need to meet up soon. You still have your equipment, right? Of course. Then meet at my place in an hour. I'll call the others.
After making all the calls, Risi hung up and went to his friend's portrait, recalling one of their last hunts. It was in Europe, in a large forest near Luxembourg. They went there after hearing rumors of a fierce, unusually large wolf attacking villages and livestock. While doing their research, he realized it was a werewolf. The hunt had not been easy. They had to come up with a strategic plan, thanks to the cunning of Creepypasta and Ivy, and the knowledge of Moth. When the three of them were together, they made an amazing team. Thinking back to Moth, he also remembered his twin, Hazel. They were inseparable and had a powerful mental connection that proved formidable during hunts. From what he remembered, Hazel was by far a much better tracker than his twin sister. But she made up for it with her extraordinary mental abilities. His phone started ringing, pulling him out of his daydream. It was Stoopy.
Stoopy, thank you. I heard what happened with Lorenz. How do you know that? Our community isn't limited to just your acquaintances, and you know Lorenz was pretty well known in the scene. Yeah, I see news travels fast. Like you said, what are you planning? To gather the best hunters, the cream of the crop. And you didn't even think to call me. Yes, but last, I see you haven't lost your sense of humor. Do you have a plan of action? Christoph is on the team and we've already started working together. Perfect. Tell me where and when I should join you. At my place, as soon as possible.
Then he hung up. Stoopy was a peculiar character, he didn't talk much, and people sometimes found him strange, but he was a reliable asset for the team. And that, Resit knew, even though deep down he was afraid he might be rejected by the group. Moth, who was sitting next to Hazel, had lots of books scattered around her. A real living encyclopedia, she was trying to gather as much knowledge as possible to face this extraordinary creature they were going to have to confront. Moth's long black hair contrasted with her pale skin, and her eyes lacked pupils, which was unsettling. That was her unique feature. However, her cheeks were slightly pink, and her features were very gentle. She also wore a large moth talisman necklace. And so, she had a ghostly beauty. As for Makurupusuta, she was having a long conversation with Ivy.
I feel like this shit is really strong.
We've faced worse. You and I, this won't scare me.
Don't you get that we're not dealing with the usual creatures? This one seems way more powerful. Look, girl. She's never spent this much time gathering data on one creature. I need you to tell me the truth. What are you feeling?
Looking upset, Ivy didn't answer him, and a silence settled in. Creepypasta then ran a hand through her ebony hair before adjusting the strap of her dress that was slipping down her shoulder. Creepypasta always wore dresses slid up to the thigh, on which she fastened a strap where she kept her weapons. This unusual and yet unsuitable outfit for an ordinary hunter gave her a unique charm and style. Hazel then spoke up.
She won't tell you the truth. She knows what's outside and is downplaying it. She'd rather say that it's Jason Voorhees waiting for us outside with his machete, and that Leatherface is hiding under the house with his chainsaw. Instead of admitting the threat is bigger, and she fears for our lives. Tonight, like her.
Hazel, her sister, had jet black hair and an aquiline nose. They weren't very tall or thick, but that was enough to stand out. He was known for being very pleasant with others, and his gentle demeanor made him seem quite friendly. That night, he was serious. Creepypasta and Ivy turned around suddenly, as if they were one and the same woman. Hazel was sniffing around him, making strange movements with her nose.
We're not kids, Ivy. You need to be honest with us.
Moth answered his brother without looking up from his books.
She's not downplaying it, because she's staying silent.
Her gentle, angelic voice always eased even the highest tensions.
Ivy, I know it, and if I know it, Hazel knows it too. We'll be running to certain death. You never lie to my Creepypasta, and this is the first time I've seen you so uncomfortable, especially in front of her. Admit that what I just said is true.
Yes, Ivy, I've never smelled such a strong scent, never.
Silence continued as Ivy stayed quiet, causing the others to panic. Damn, Ivy.
Tell us what you see.
Thunder rumbled. No one had noticed that a man was standing in the doorway, listening to their conversation for a while.
No, but who is he? Good evening. Can we help you?
Calm down, my Creepypasta. I invited him. Let me introduce you to Stupid.
The man standing in front of the door was of average height, quite muscular. You could tell he was a hunter, judging by the many marks he had on his arms. But what stood out the most was the scar running across his cheek. He seemed to want to hide it with his hair. They all wondered what kind of creature could have given him that impressive mark.
Why is he even here? Is this really a good time for a guy's night out?
Racy rolled his eyes. Oh, don't start being a killjoy, my Creepypasta, please. Moth barely lifted his nose from his books and replied,
And what else can the poor man's Daryl do but eavesdrop?
They burst out laughing until they were suddenly stopped in their tracks when the glass of red wine that Creepypasta was holding exploded from an arrow shot.
That's what he can do.
A silence fell, and only Resid managed to smile. Because he knew the archery skills of Stupas, he could kill a werewolf with a single arrow. Too focused on his unusual appearance, no one had noticed the bow he carried on his back. Archers were rare in this environment. Despite their small numbers, they were known as elite marksmen who rarely missed.
Alright, that's it. Enough with the snide remarks. Now we can go avenge our friend, or keep playing Kia's game of who's got the biggest.
By shouting, Resid had plunged the room into silence, but fortunately, the awkwardness didn't last, because Moth spoke up, pointing to a passage from an old book she was holding in her hands.
I think I found what we're dealing with. Listen. The Wendigo, or cursed cannibal, is a supernatural being, endowed with great spiritual strength. Its hearing is sensitive to every rustle. Its sight detects the slightest movement. Its strength allows it to kill any man with a single gesture, and its speed is unmatched. With every human it devours, its body and stomach grow proportionally, making it hungrier each time. The Wendigo is emaciated, but gluttonous. It's a skeletal and insatiable monster. Over time, its skin begins to rot on its carcass, surrounding it with a sinister smell of decay.
Yeah, you're not telling us anything new, Hermione. We've all faced a Wendigo before.
If you let me finish, you'd see where I'm going with this. Wendigos that have survived more than 200 years are called Supreme Wendigos. They have enhanced abilities and even develop powers that their younger counterparts don't have, which makes them especially dangerous and hard to defeat. For example, they can enter victims' minds, causing them to see or hear things that aren't real, or even to influence their environment by the sheer force of their thoughts. Like the younger Wendigos, they fear silver bullets. Unfortunately, they can't seriously injure or kill them, only slow them down. There is only one way to defeat a Supreme Wendigo. Cut off its limbs with a silver weapon and remove its heart before burning it, at the same time as its limbs, and this must be done before sunrise.
Moth stopped reading and glanced at his brother, who, like everyone else, looked worried. None of them had ever dealt with a creature of such strength, and he wasn't reassured by what Moth had just told them.
Alright, everyone, get to work. If we want to finish before sunrise, let's start now. Subtitles by Diaz.
While everyone was gathering their things to get ready to go hunting, Reese looked at the silver katana hanging on the wall and took it down from its stand. If only silver weapons could take down these creatures, then he was going to need it. He then strapped the katana to a sling so he could carry it on his back. Ivy walked by and Reese grabbed her arm firmly, then said to her,
We're not finished. You'll tell me what you know, like it or not.
She broke free from his grip.
I'll say what I have to say when I decide to. You're not Lorenz.
Reese looked at her, worried. He knew if anything happened to a group member, Ivy would be blamed for staying silent. He then turned to his fellow hunters and said with determination,
Let's go. Off to Robinson Woods. Ivy, do you still have the gift I gave you?
What do you think? I always carried it with me. Me too.
Perfect. Let's go.
When they arrived in Robinson Woods Forest, they had no doubt they were in the right place. When a place has already seen bloodshed, it gives off an unmistakable energy. Robinson Woods was also considered one of America's most haunted forests. It was said to house many especially dangerous monsters, including the Wendigo. Racy knew he wasn't going to find Lorenz's body. When Wendigos found a worthy opponent, they left nothing behind after defeating them. They quickly set up camp in the forest's center, where Wendigos often hid and digested. Moth then inspected the area. With the goal of finding its lair, Hazel started looking for clues, using the information his sister gave him. Creepypasta was preparing a counter-attack strategy in case the Wendigo launched a surprise attack. Meanwhile, Ivy, with her eyes closed, was focusing on the auras she sensed in the forest. Stupe was keeping watch over the camp, equipped with his bow, ready to attack the beast if it showed its face. And on the other side of the camp stood Resi, because he was the only one who could withstand a Wendigo in close combat. Hazel and Moth moved closer to talk.
Hey Moth, don't you think there's something off with Ivy?
There's always something off with her.
No, I'm serious. She saw something in the forest.
And what did she see?
I feel something too, but I don't know exactly what. It's not human, that's for sure, but Ivy knows.
That's why I dislike people with clairvoyance.
Why?
I don't like that gift. She's always ahead of us, and her stuck-up attitude really annoys me.
Moth, I think Ivy isn't that bad. She's just...
You're too kind. That kindness nearly got you killed by the last werewolf we hunted.
That's irrelevant. You keep bringing it up.
Moth took a deep breath.
Ivy knows a lot more than we do. Secret is going to end up killing us. And you keep defending her.
Stupe, not far from them, had heard the whole conversation.
I didn't trust Ivy when I arrived either. You have good reason to be wary of her.
Moth shot Stupe a dark look.
Nobody asked you anything, did they?
For some reason that Stupe didn't know, Moth seemed to hold a certain grudge against him. Maybe it was because he spoke very little. One thing was certain, she had also sensed a sinister aura in him. He then preferred not to reply and returned to his guard post. Creepypasta walked past him without saying a word, heading straight towards Ivy.
Are you going to tell me what's going on?
A demon lives underground, less than 2 kilometers away. He's not here to bother us. He just asks we do the same.
Tell the evil twins that. Hearing them talk about me, I feel like Lilith.
Further away, although he was focused on scanning the surroundings, Reese couldn't help but glance at the scene unfolding in front of him. He had suspected that Lorenz's death would be a real shock for everyone, but he thought that this experience would bring them closer together. Instead, the opposite was happening. Everyone was on edge, and that didn't bode well for the fight they were about to face. They needed to stick together, and if they couldn't all pull themselves together quickly, they were going to end up getting killed one by one. He was suddenly pulled out of his thoughts by Stupe's call, who had shouted from his post.
Wendigo spotted 4 kilometers west, likely feeding. I'm going to investigate.
Moth got up suddenly.
I'll go with you. I want to know if we're really dealing with the Supreme Wendigo.
I'm coming too.
No, in these woods, you know very well that the Wendigo isn't the only thing you have to watch out for. And it might not even be him. Stay here and keep following his trail just in case.
If something happens to you, Moth gave a slight smile.
You can just blame Ivy.
Moth, go ahead. We can't...
Reese watched them walk away. Then he said, "Be careful, don't let yourself lose anyone." Stupe and Moth walked away. Their path was silent because Stupe didn't like to talk, and Moth was lost in her thoughts. They finally reached an intersection, and Stupe turned to the left.
It's not that way.
What do you know? I saw it myself.
Maybe so, but I'm the expert, and I've decided we're going to the right.
You're exhausting. Fine. We'll take your damn path.
Moth stared her down and headed toward the small path, only to realize within a few minutes that trees were blocking the way.
Fine, you win, Daryl. We'll take your stupid path.
Stupe had a smug smile on his face.
Go ahead, Lotcha. I'm following since you seem to know it all. It's not just Ivy I dislike.
Don't worry, I don't like you either, but we have to work together whether we want to or not. So, if I were you, I would...
Moth was caught by surprise, and without having time to react, she was violently thrown several meters away, before slamming into a tree and breaking a few ribs. The Wendigo charged at her. Stupe tried to aim at him, but he was too fast. Arrows were shot but didn't hit their target. Moth, stunned, tried to get up as best he could. Blood was running from his lips. With a weak movement, she pointed her shotgun at the Wendigo, but her weapon jammed.
But
She then tried to focus her thoughts on her brother, to call him for help. Usually, when she did that, he sensed she needed him, but she had no time to think. The huge creature was just meters from her.
damn, my shot.
That's what I do. What the hell is this? I've never seen one like that.
Stupe, please kill him. I can't move.
Stupe shot several arrows, but it was as if the Wendigo was completely unaffected by his volleys. He felt that all his attempts against him would be in vain. He knew it. He would never be able to kill him. Moth was in tears.
Tell Hazel that I love her. Tell her to trust her intuition, to look deep inside herself. Tell her that the Wendigo is one.
The last thing she saw was the face of the Wendigo, who was about to kill her. Stupe stood behind, trying to aim once more, but it was too late. With a huge swipe of its claw, the Wendigo tore off Moth's head, and she fell to the ground. With a dull thud, Stupe dropped his bow. He had just realized the true strength of this thing. Overcome by panic, he took off running back to camp, abandoning Moth's lifeless body to the Wendigo. He arrived out of breath, sweating. To his great surprise, the camp was completely empty.
Damn it, where are you?
They all arrived separately, running. They had scattered because they couldn't figure out which direction the screams were coming from.
But what's going on? Where's Moth?
He got Moth. He tore his head off.
I told you we shouldn't split up. Now look.
Hazel froze, his eyes wide with terror. Then he lunged at Stupe, furious.
What did you do to my sister? I'll kill you!
He grabbed him by the collar, and despite his small build, he lifted him slightly off the ground, then Stupe kicked him hard in the stomach, which made him release his grip. Even angrier, Hazel drew a dagger. He pulled something from his jeans pocket and lunged at Stupe, screaming it was all his fault. He was the one who killed him by pushing him to the ground, under the shocked gaze of the others, who didn't know how to react. As he was about to stab Stupe, who was dazed, Macrista arrived and pushed Hazel, who collapsed into his arms sobbing, his eyes full of tears. He was devastated, having just lost the person who mattered most to him. It felt like part of his heart was ripped away. Stupe got back up.
Believe me, I did everything I could. In the army, you never leave a comrade behind. I'm sorry.
Everyone looked at Hazel with sympathy, sharing her pain. Ivy then stepped back a few steps. She had just felt something.
It's him.
Ivy didn't look Macrista in the eyes and kept watching the forest.
No, what's your problem really? Why don't you want to tell us how you feel this whole time? At least you can tell me.
Stupe was listening to their conversations carefully. He then decided to step in.
Ivy, I was told about your gift. So, what did you see or hear?
He's not the one I saw.
How can you be sure?
Ivy sized him up.
If you knew about my gift, you'd know that I can recognize any creature without having to hear or see it. And I assure you, it's not the Wendigo.
So what is it?
It's a banshee. There's a nest nearby, so it's best to stay away.
I don't believe you. I'm checking it out and you're coming with me.
Why? Do you need another human shield, is that it?
Hazel suddenly screamed, crying over his twin's death. Enduring this conversation had pushed him over the edge.
That's enough, you two. I just lost my sister, so stop playing around. I'm going to kill that Wendigo, with or without you.
Stupe and Ivy kept staring each other down.
You know what, Stupa? Fine, let's do it. Let's go throw ourselves into a banshee nest. After all, what do we have to lose besides our lives? It's not like the banshee are bloodthirsty monsters, willing to do anything to protect their own.
Stupe didn't respond to that statement. He immediately started gathering his weapons. Hazel stood up as well.
I'm coming too. I'll go with you, Ivy.
Reese stood up angrily. Then he started yelling.
Movies haven't taught you anything at all, have they? You're acting like we're at Crystal Lake Camp. You know that rule that says you should never split up, right?
Ivy walked up to Ressie and gently stroked her face.
Me too, we're not in a movie.
As Ivy was gathering her things to leave, Reese, in turn, grabbed her arm and whispered, "Please don't die." Ivy smiled at her, then disappeared into the forest with Hazel and Stupe. Macrips watched you leave. Then she said to Reese,
Makes you think that what Lorenz taught us is completely useless. We're here for a Wendigo, and yet they're going off to fight banshees. Your friend Stupe might be a good shot, but he's stubborn. If we lose Ivy, I'll never forgive him.
"Me neither, Stupa." Hazel and Ivy rushed into the dark forest. Silence reigned around them. They walked without saying a word. And, despite his sadness, Hazel kept a straight face. He couldn't stand tension, and he had to calm himself down. His self-control was for his sister, but now that she was gone, he was losing all his bearings.
Ivy, even when you're not with your friends, you keep saying you heard banshees.
It's obvious you don't know her. If Macripsta heard you doubting her gift, she'd make you swallow your teeth.
I'm not doubting her gift. She doesn't say what she really knows, and that's what bothers me the most.
Ivy doesn't lie. When she doesn't speak, it's because the situation is dangerous.
So why is she letting us walk right into the lion's den?
Hazel stopped and looked at Stupe.
You forced her, questioned her gift, and made her come. I couldn't leave her with you after what happened with my sister.
You want to know why I doubt her gift? Because I'm sure there's no banshee in Robinson Wood.
But Hazel wasn't listening anymore. He suddenly stopped. A beautiful young woman in a green dress was watching them, and was standing in front of them. Then she started to smile, revealing rows of teeth that distorted her face. And before he could react, she started to scream.
See, she was right. They're here.
Run away.
A hunter never flees his prey.
Hazel and Ivy covered their ears with their hands to protect them. Banshees were screamers, and when they did, it was to announce a great disaster or the death of a person. Too distracted by this piercing scream, they hadn't noticed that the Wendigo was approaching dangerously. Then, with a leap, Ivy turned around and saw it. She drew her weapon, a Beretta that was hidden in her boot. She aimed at the Wendigo, but she couldn't bring herself to shoot.
Damn, it jammed.
The same thing happened to her pistol. What woman's weapon before she died? Now it's his turn. Hazel drew his rifle and tried to shoot, and just like Ivy's, his weapon was also jammed. Slipping his hand into the pocket of his leather pants, the fortune teller searched for her dagger. Meanwhile, Hazel was trying to help Stupe up so he could escape.
I should let you die for cowardly abandoning my sister.
Hazel, let me die now, or finish me off if you're not going to help me.
I'm not trash. I'm a real loyal hunter who never abandons anyone.
You'll have to let go of your principles, big guy.
Stupa turned and saw the Wendigo just meters away. The creature was walking slowly, with a confident step. Its meal was patiently waiting for it on the ground.
Get out of here.
But Stupe,
Go, don't stay. I'd rather he kill one of us than all three. Let my sacrifice save you. I'm serious. Run.
Without hesitation, and without needing to be told twice, Hazel and Ivy ran away without looking back. They didn't even stop for a single second to look back, not even to catch their breath. Once they arrived at the camp, they found Macripsta, the only one tending the fire. When she saw them return, she ran up to them.
Where's Stupa? Don't say he's dead.
Ivy ignored the question.
Where is Reese?
He went to get some wood, but what's wrong, Ivy?
Which way did he go?
Macripsta pointed at Reese, and it only took a few seconds for Ivy to catch up with him. When he saw her coming, he dropped the wooden discs he was holding in his hands. She jumped into his arms, she hugged him tightly. They stayed like that for a long moment, pressed against each other. Then she slowly stepped back.
Stupe mort.
What?
We went all the way to the Banshee's nest, but it was a trap. Stupa broke his leg and the Wendigo showed up. He was killed violently. He suffered a lot. I saw it in my head. I saw everything. I wanted to help him, but my weapon jammed.
Your weapon jammed? That's not possible. You checked it in front of me.
Without answering him, Ivy snuggled up to Reese again. Then she brought her mouth close to his ear and whispered to him.
Reese, death is among us. None of us will survive.
You've been hiding that from everyone since the start, haven't you?
Ivy lowered her head and continued.
That night at your place, while we were gathered, I saw it. Come on, you're here.
Who are you talking about? The Grim Reaper?
No, Reese, when did we start naming death?
Then she burst into tears on his shoulder. He stroked the fortune teller's long blonde hair. That was what he loved most about her. Her light, nuanced hair contrasted perfectly with her dark clothes. Ivy was always dressed in black leather, which were clothes she was especially fond of. Recite took her by the shoulders and said to her,
Come on, Ivy, let's join the others.
I don't have the strength anymore. Recite something is draining my energy. For the first time in years, I'm afraid.
Listen to me carefully, Ivy. As long as I'm here on this earth, you'll never have to be afraid.
Ivy shed a tear of blood. Reese knew what that meant. The tear of blood was a sign of imminent, unavoidable death. It was another of her gifts, though she saw it differently. Because in her eyes, these tears of blood were a real curse. As if she had just realized it, Ivy jumped and cried out,
I think we've lost Hazel.
What? Don't tell me he's dead. Him too.
Ivy put her hands to her forehead and scanned the forest.
No, wait, he's still alive. I can hear him.
Reese and Ivy then joined the camp where Macrista was, who upon seeing them, walked toward them.
Macrista, where is Hazel?
We were both sitting there, and he was telling me what was happening to Stupa. And then, suddenly, he froze, jumped up, and started walking toward the clearing. I tried to catch up with him, but he pushed me away so violently that I fell to the ground. And by the time I came to my senses, he was gone.
Damn, Ivy closed her eyes, then focused her thoughts on Hazel. Then she said,
Wait! I see him, I hear him, he's talking with...
Then she suddenly opened her eyes.
Who is he talking with?
He's talking with Moth.
Macrista and Racine stared wide-eyed.
Ivy, sorry honey, but I think your antenna is broken there. Moth is dead.
Ivy shot her a dirty look.
Macrista think the Wendigo is manipulating him.
Spears, various poisons, and perfectly sharpened knives had been prepared and stored at the camp by the hunters. As soon as they arrived at Robinson Woods, they were placed in a huge bag, which Reese then picked up with ease.
All right, this time we stay together. That thing is stronger than we expected.
Well said. I just hope we don't run into Freddy Krueger with all the stuff we're finding in this forest.
Racy was known for lifting spirits with humor, but now he was as worried as everyone else. Macrista then continued.
Ivy, do you still see Hazel?
He's in a clearing to the east near the noise source.
Invite the girls. Let's go catch up with him.
Suddenly, a scream was heard, so they immediately headed toward the source of the noise. They feared another trick from Wendigo, but they had no choice. They had to act fast if they wanted a chance to eliminate that thing, and above all, a chance to rescue Hazel. Quickly, they arrived at the clearing. There was still no sign of Hazel. Their attention then turned to a shoe lying on the ground. It belonged to their companion. AV then felt chest pressure. She felt that Hazel was nearby. Then she pointed north with her finger.
However,
they ran ahead and soon found the young hunter in front of Halak, apparently talking to someone.
No, I know it's not you. Stop it.
Reese quietly approached him to listen. While the girls stayed back, his blood ran cold when he recognized that the voice speaking to Hazel was Moth's.
Hazel, I'm stuck in the clearing. Come help me, Hazel. Hazel, my life is hanging by a thread. Come help me, Hazel.
No, it's not you, I know.
Hazel, it's me. He didn't kill me. He imprisoned me. I'm begging you, get me out of here.
Stop, please, stop.
Help me, my brother. Don't leave me, otherwise he'll really kill me.
Hazel.
I'm going to get the others. We will help you.
No, Hazel. Only you can help me. Come closer to the water and you'll see me. You know I would never lie to you, Hazel.
Hazel was shaken, torn between the urge to rush to his aid or to fall back and join the others. He was under the influence of the Wendigo, but at that moment, he had a sudden moment of clarity. His sister was dead. It wasn't her calling him.
Hazel.
But the voice he heard was indeed his sister's. He would have recognized it anywhere.
Hazel, come help me. I'm in pain, Hazel.
He was distraught. Should he rush headlong toward that voice, or should he ignore it and get as far away as possible? As best he could, he tried not to pay attention to the voice, even going so far as to cover his ears so he wouldn't hear it anymore. But Hazel was under the Wendigo's influence, and after just a few seconds, he let himself be drawn in by his sister's voice. He crouched down in front of the water's edge. Moth's face appeared from the lake. Within seconds, the young hunter saw her eyes were glazed. She opened her mouth and let a water spider escape. Then, she said in a guttural voice,
Hazel.
Slowly, Moth's head tilted slightly back, revealing a mass of veins and clotted blood that were at the base of his neck. Meanwhile, Racy was screaming at the top of his lungs.
Hazel, no!
He opened the bag he was holding in his hands and grabbed a spear, which he threw straight into the lake, barely missing his target. Hazel, startled, fell back. Alton, terrified, kicked his feet and backed away, using his hands. The horrible floating head in front of his eyes started to laugh, a deep laugh that echoed throughout the clearing. Then, suddenly, the head was dragged underwater, before disappearing completely. Then, two huge antlers stained with dried blood emerged from the depths. The Wendigo's face slowly appeared before his terrified eyes. A long, emaciated arm grabbed him by the ankle. Reese tried several times to shoot it with a hunting rifle, desperately trying to rescue the young boy, but his weapon was jammed, and within seconds, Hazel was dragged under the waves. The last words Reese heard were,
It's... Reese, be careful, it's...
Those screams echoed into the woods as the beast devoured him beneath the waves. The water, clear and transparent, quickly turned red, and only the boy's torn-off arm floated back to the surface.
Hazel, no!
Racy clenched his fists.
I'm going to rip your heart out, you filthy Wendigo. Do you hear me? I'm going to destroy you.
Reese was about to break down. Why were these skilled hunters dying off so quickly? How was that possible? They had to find the last two members of the group at all costs. They were supposed to be behind him. But there was no one left. Those two meant a lot to him, and especially Ivy. She wasn't just a hunter in his eyes. If she were to get hurt or worse, he wouldn't be able to handle it. He set out to find them. As he headed back to where Azel's shoe was, he noticed another one on the ground. Only this time, it wasn't the young hunter's shoe, but one of Ivy's shoes, a pair Racy had given her. She could never give up, even to save someone.
Ivy McCrypsta, where are you?
The only answer he got was the sound of the wind. He felt anger rising inside him. That same anger that could multiply his strength. That anger that would surely allow him to defeat the Wendigo.
Girls, answer me!
Meanwhile, farther away, the girls were talking among themselves.
You know, Ivy? It really bothers me that you haven't been able to talk to me since the beginning of this hunt.
Ivy stopped and looked at him.
That I can't talk to you?
Yes, that you've suddenly become distant. I might have been jealous if you had gone to confide in Racy. I don't really know what your relationship is like, but I know that you aren't just friends.
What are you talking about?
Well, at Reese's you already knew. You also knew when Moth died, and then... when you went hunting with Stupa after you sensed the Benchies, I'm sure you already knew you wouldn't be able to save him.
McCrypta, I don't understand you.
McCrypta stopped and stared into Ivy's amethyst eyes.
You knew it and you did nothing. I guess you must have really loved your McCrypta. That she was truly your friend, your soul sister, the one you shared everything with. You let everyone die one by one, when you could have stopped it all, Ivy.
Ivy still didn't answer, and McCrypta then burst into uncontrollable laughter.
You mean after all you've seen and felt, you still didn't believe it? Ha ha ha. I wouldn't believe you. I know you were sure the moment you hugged me. You knew who I was.
I just couldn't believe it. Not you, anyone but you. How could he capture you? Your house is full of traps and you yourself are a trap.
That's why I chose her. For her intelligence, her strength, and for that ability to detect and set a trap. That's why. But I kept a piece of her with me. Because I knew that if I left even a trace of her scent, when you sensed her aura, you would still see her. I thought you might have doubts, sure, but you wouldn't be certain.
You killed my friend. You wore his skin. You infiltrated us. You tampered with our weapons. You made sure we all ended up at Robinson Woods. Here in this place, crawling with all kinds of monsters. Mose saw your eyes and recognized you before she died, she told Stupe.
Macripsta kept laughing.
Oh yes, that little living encyclopedia figured it out a few seconds before she died. But I didn't give her time to tell the archer. By the way, that's why I made sure you could find out there were benchies. I wanted you to take Stupa there. He was one of those who could have killed me. He's really the best sniper I've ever seen in my entire life. I had to get rid of him. Oh, and by the way, Hazel knows about it too. When the two of us met up, while you were messing around with Racy, he sensed it. But then I sent him away so I could have all the time I wanted to have fun. He did try to warn you before, but you know speaking with water in your lungs. Ha ha ha, poor thing.
I'm not going to argue with you for hours, Wendigo. You can kill me, but you'll never have Racy. Never.
You fortune tellers always seem way too sure of yourselves, but you talk too much. A hungry Wendigo can't resist your delicious scent.
Ivy stepped back as Macripsta transformed into the Wendigo before her. She couldn't believe it. She was watching her friend transform before her. Her body started to stretch. Her teeth slowly grew, becoming like sharp blades. Her arms became thinner and more emaciated. A thick layer of dog fur covered them as the monster revealed its true face. The one who had always been her friend was slowly disappearing. Then, in a matter of seconds, Le Wendigo plunged its huge paw into Ivy's chest, screaming in pain as it devoured her heart, savoring it. But the monster, after hearing rustling behind him, immediately took back its human appearance and quickly walked away. The next moment, Reese came out of the bushes, finding Ivy's lifeless body lying on the ground in a pool of blood, her eyes wide open. The purple glow that once shone in them was gradually fading. He held her close to him.
I forbid you to die. You don't have the right. You can't bring me back to life. Stay, please. We'll call for help, okay? Please, don't leave me.
Tears were about to fall from his eyes. Then, he heard someone behind him. Without letting go of Ivy's body, he turned around to see Macripsta coming toward him. When she saw her friend's body, she broke down in tears, pretending to be devastated.
Reese? But what happened?
Do you really need me to explain? That monster got her. Tonight it's either him or me.
So it's just the two of us left now.
That was the last straw. We can't let Macripsta do this. We're going to have to face him. Now, and even if our weapons are jammed, we'll go after him with knives, or even with our bare hands. That's what Ivy would have wanted.
Yes, you're right, Reese.
Reese looked at Ivy one last time. He remembered meeting her, that famous night when they first met, her long blonde hair, and her sparkling amethyst eyes that would light up when she met his gaze. From that day on, something had formed between them. He then remembered their first hunt, just the two of them. He remembered those vampires they had defeated together, but most of all, that passionate kiss they had shared. And suddenly, Macrystal interrupted his thoughts.
This Wendigo seems tough, Reese. He looks like the Supreme Wendigo, you know? The one Moth talked about? She said if this was one, our chances of survival were slim. And she was right.
What bothers me most is that your best friend just had her heart broken, and it doesn't seem to affect you much.
Do you realize how terrible what you're saying is? You have no idea how much I blame myself for leaving her alone, even briefly.
Reese grumbled. He didn't want to argue with his friend, but he had just lost an important part of himself. To lose the person he loved most in the world, to lose his soulmate. He also cared a lot about Macripsta, whom he considered his confidant, his sister. But she had stopped crying in record time, and seemed to have become completely insensitive. Insensitive to Moth's death, insensitive to Stupe's death, insensitive to Hazel's death. And now, insensitive to Ivy's death. Now it was obvious to her. She was no longer herself. Reese then gently laid Ivy's body on the ground and slowly stood up. He walked a little further, to decompress as much as possible, but as he went deeper into the forest, moving further and further away from Macripsta, Reese's mind started racing, and the pieces of the puzzle began to come together. He thought back to his lack of reaction to Moth's death, to his passivity after Stupe's and to his strange behavior during Hazel's death. Then, he slowly drew the katana from its sheath and stopped. Creepypasta, not hearing his footsteps anymore, turned around.
Why did you take that out?
And you? Why did you leave Ivy alone?
Huh?
You were together. Why did you split up?
Reese, I heard a noise behind us. I just wanted to protect us.
Don't take me for a fool. Normally you never take your eyes off her, so why now? And especially in the middle of a hunt, you left her alone.
Creepypasta wore a strange smile Reese didn't recognize.
Now, do you know the answer? Ha ha ha.
And then she transformed right before his eyes.
Oh damn.
Reese was horrified. He saw the creature that once looked like his friend turning into a nameless abomination. This thing, which had just transformed before his eyes, had used the bonds of friendship the group had formed to kill them one by one. He couldn't believe he was the group's last survivor. They had never thought that wanting to avenge the death of their mentors would lead them all to their downfall. They had to be brave and fight, even if it cost him his life. After all, he had already lost everything he held most dear, and running away was no longer an option. He took a deep breath to give himself courage. While grabbing the katana he had on his back, this katana was a gift from Lorenz. After coming back from a particularly exhausting yokai hunt in Japan, over there, Lorenz had asked one of the country's greatest specialists to forge this little marvel for him, and being able to fight what would surely be his last battle with it was a true honor for him. He raised his head to look the Wendigo intensely in the eyes. Holding the katana firmly with both hands, he faced the creature, which responded with a diabolical laugh.
You really think you can beat me with that? I'm disappointed. I thought you were going to bring out the heavy artillery.
Reese didn't respond to her provocation, went straight for the Supreme Wendigo.
So is that all you can do?
Who dodged his attack at the very last second, making fun of him. And the katana that the hunter had raised above his head came crashing down onto the ground. Without touching the beast, Reese realized then that the creature was even faster than he thought, and just as he was about to turn around to try to land another blow, he felt the monster's claws pierce his skin, from the top of his shoulder blade down to the bottom of his back, which made him drop his weapon to the ground. He spun quickly, but froze just as he was about to raise his weapon. The horrible creature had taken human form again, but this time it wasn't Creepypasta he saw before his eyes, but Ivy herself. Reise felt a pang in his heart. He knew very well that this wasn't the woman he loved. He had seen her lifeless, and he knew that her body was lying just a few meters away, yet he couldn't help but be disturbed by what he saw before his eyes. He felt Ivy's love for him, radiating from this thing. He had an irresistible urge to move toward the monster that had put on the skin of the person who was dearest to him in the world. With a sudden movement, he took 3 steps back.
Reise, it's me. What's wrong with you? Why are you moving away from me?
Stop your nonsense. I know you're not Ivy. Stop using her voice.
What are you saying? What's your problem?
Are you hurt? I think you're delirious. It's really me.
Reise kept putting distance between himself and the thing. He backed away without really knowing where he was stepping.
Reise, please let me help you. You're losing a lot of blood. I don't want you to lose a lot of blood.
Yet, all he wanted was to stop and curl up in the arms of the thing that claimed to be Ivy. He took another step back and tripped over something before falling heavily onto his back, which made the pain already running through his back even worse. As he turned to see who made him fall, he saw a heap of flesh and bones. It was Ivy's corpse. That monster had stolen her skin and left nothing of her but this, that, and some of her belongings that were scattered on the floor.
My God, look at what that monster did. I can't even tell which of our friends it is.
I'd rather die than keep listening to your bullshit.
The Wendigo gave a sly smile and returned to its beastly form, and it moved toward Reise, who was putting his hand on the ground to get up. Be careful what you wish for.
If you don't want it to become reality for me.
The Wendigo seized Reise by the collar and lifted him like a rag doll. Growling fiercely, he brought him close to his face, so close that Reise could smell the metallic scent of blood on his breath. The Wendigo was about to open his enormous jaws, but Reese didn't give him the chance to do it, and he plunged the dagger he was holding into the creature's right eye. Fortunately, when he put his hands on the ground to get up, he felt Ivy's dagger under his palm, one of the little gifts he had given her and which she never parted with. Luckily, its blade was silver, the Wendigo's weak point. The beast let out a blood-curdling scream of pain and furiously threw Reese to the ground. The Wendigo put its hand over its eye to pull out the dagger, and Reese took the opportunity to run and get his katana back. Once he had retrieved his favorite weapon, he rushed toward the creature, which was bleeding heavily from its eye. Reese knew that this would work to his advantage. The Wendigo growled again, but this time out of rage, and it swung a paw at the hunter, who dodged it. The wound made the beast slower. He had to take advantage of the opportunity. Reese then raised his weapon, and he sliced the Wendigo's left leg, which in pain dropped to one knee. This allowed the hunter to drive the katana into its chest and pierce its heart. The creature fell heavily to the ground, with a sound that echoed throughout the entire forest. The hunter, still panting, stood over the beast, relieved to have managed to defeat it. Even though the Wendigo was now unable to cause harm, it was not dead yet, and it was trying to regain a human appearance. In a last effort to unsettle his opponent, Reese saw all his friends' faces flash before his eyes. Seeing each of them for the last time moved him, but it also awakened a devastating rage within him. He then raised his katana to the sky and violently sliced through the air to cut off the Wendigo's head, which detached and rolled a little farther away. He continued to sever its limbs one by one.
This is for Stupa, this is for Hazel, this is for Makrista.
Thinking about his friends and colleagues,
And this is for Ivy.
he finished by ripping the beast's heart out, then lit a bonfire to burn its remains. After placing them in the fire, he watched them burn in the flames. He had just slain the fiercest monster of his career, but the victory had been bitter. He turned around to head toward his car, and when he finally managed to do it, the sun was about to rise. He had defeated him just in time. He got into his car and, just before starting it, spoke to himself.
I think I've earned a good cup of coffee. And especially with a good shot of Bailey's in it,